Beth Karras is a correspondent for In Session on True TV and a former prosecutor. She joins us now from Orlando. Beth, good to have you back. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Let me get your thoughts on this jury. 7 women, 5 men. Which side is feeling better about this jury, do you suspect?
You know, I think there are jurors who are good for both sides. The defense clearly likes the fact that there are a couple of jurors who said that they initially said they'd have trouble perhaps sitting in judgment of another person. One woman in particular said it was based on her religious beliefs. The state tried to get her excused, not just for cause they lost, but 2 times for no reason, using a peremptory strike, and they lost that too because she's an African-American woman and the defense challenged it. So she's on the jury and did say she has a problem sitting in judgment, but that she could follow the law.
Give me a sense of the opening statement by the prosecution. Obviously, they'll run through the evidence, but is there a particular piece of evidence that will become their mantra, that they're really going to want to hammer into this jury's mind?
Well, first of all, these opening statements are going to be longer than we see in a lot of cases because this is such a complicated case. It involves a lot of science and involves Casey Anthony's statements. And I think the prosecution is going to track her whereabouts for those 31 days before her mother reported her daughter missing. And so the jury is going to see her behavior, hear what the state says are a bunch of lies to the police, throwing them off track in mid-July 2008, and then hear all about the science. But maybe the big piece of evidence will be the odor of a decomposing body in the trunk of Casey Anthony's car, along with other evidence that little Kaylee was dead inside the trunk, coupled with duct tape around her mouth. It was wrapped around her head anyway when her skeletal remains were found. That's why the state is seeking death, by the way, because of the tape.
Is it safe to assume that the defense, in its opening statement, is going to belittle a case largely built on circumstantial evidence and things like a smell in a trunk?
Yes, absolutely. Now, the defense is going to try to raise reasonable doubt. Of course, that's their job. They may actually point the finger at someone else or give a different explanation for the death that doesn't rise to the level of first-degree murder. You see, the cause of death is not known. Manner is homicide. Cause. What killed this little girl is not known, except I think the state's going to argue you don't put duct tape around the head of somebody who is alive, who is dead. Obviously, she's alive is what they'll argue, so she's suffocated, perhaps. So the defense is going to say, look, we don't know how she died. It could have been an accident. It could have been staged to look this way. Someone else could have done it. They're probably going to offer a different explanation, but they don't have to do that at this stage.
You know, Casey's life is on the line here. This is a death penalty case. With that in mind, will her attorneys be approaching this almost as the penalty phase at the same time they're defending her? I mean, do they have to keep this bigger picture in mind?
Yes. And they started doing that with jury selection with their mitigation expert, Ann Fennell. She's the death penalty expert who did the questioning there. They're constantly planting seeds in the minds of the jurors to have mercy, some compassion. They don't want it to even get to the death penalty stage, of course, but they did start to raise issues that will come out at that phase if necessary. But yeah, they do start immediately. They need to know what kind of jurors they have and if they would have compassion and perhaps not vote for death.
All right, Beth Karras, thank you very much. Nice to have you here.
My pleasure.